Okay, so Moby Dick, or The Whale, is an 1851 novel by American writer Herman Melville. Sorry.
1851.
Yeah, 1851. So yeah, it was American.
I guess it doesn't predate America then.
Because if it was British, it'd be something
What?
like Sir Cock the Moby or some shit, you know?
Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of Chicken Shotgun. Today, I'm gonna be your host. My name is Daniel. We got Joe and we got Ramone. What?
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 Who? Nas? Lil Nas, let's go.
All right. So, in today's episode, we're gonna be talking more about books, personal experiences with books.
What the hell, nerd?
What are you?
a nerd?
What the fuck? I never read a fucking book. What the fuck are you talking
What are
about?
you, a nerd?
You read?
Did you actually, speaking of nerd, do you guys know who Lex Friedman is?
I can't read.
Oh, okay. Well, congrats. You can't read?
Yeah, I can't read.
You can't read. No,
I can't
no
read.
language at all.
Nothing.
Not a
No
specific
Pablo
language
Inglesa?
up in
I'm
near
fucking dumb.
Northern Europe.
I'm dumb.
Oh, okay.
I'm dumb
Alright.
as shit.
All right.
Yeah.
Great. Illiterate, ladies and gentlemen. So, first of all, I'm gonna start with what books did you guys read last?
I just fucking said I can't read.
Well,
I did read some books.
Yeah, you gotta.
I'm just fucking around. I'm not illiterate, allegedly.
That's exactly what an illiterate person would say.
Spell illiterate.
Oh.
H-I-L-T.
Damn. Hank Hill, illiterate. No, but let's start with you, Ramon. What did you read last?
Recently, I've been reading, and I'm about to finish, which is called Never Let Me Go.
I thought you didn't like nerds.
Fuck you. It's by something Ishiguro, like a Japanese author, but he moved to the UK, and it's basically it is a dystopian, futuristic kind of novel where basically these kids are raised in a certain way in a prestigious school, and their whole purpose is to they basically organ donors for the rich and wealthy. It's not really a spoiler, but
is it based on anything like real? As in, I know it's a novel, but is it based on some sort of true story?
I wouldn't say that. It basically takes place in like kind of futuristic. I'm halfway through, but so far it's getting really, really dark, really quick. At first, like all flowers, then it's like teenage romance, and I'm like, that's a bit of a.
Oh, so you haven't finished it?
Not fully, no. But I'm going.
Right.
That's it's work in progress. But as we're talking about finished ones, probably The Witcher, the first book, which was quite nice. I didn't realize how episodic it would be, but there's some things that are a bit all over the place in my opinion, and I guess the book makes sense that it was written like it's quite an old book, but it's
I thought The Witcher was a new thing. When did that come out?
The Witcher, the game, and
yeah, I just know it from the game,
series.
but was the book there before the game?
The book was, I think, the bro wrote it like if I'm not mistaken, maybe 60s, 70s.
Shit, that's
Just
a long
looked it
time
up.
ago.
What happened is that he basically was writing short stories he was Polish, I think,
Yeah.
and he was writing short stories for magazines of like folk creatures, and there's Hunter that basically hunts them, and people liked it so much that he made like a full book called Witcher.
Cool.
So he was like making like really short stories in magazines.
I thought it was just a game. Like I just thought that all of the like fucking stuff around the game came after the game.
Sapkowski, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, wrote 14 more stories before starting a series of novels in 1994.
Shit,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
So, okay, cool. Me personally, I'm not such a big fan of non-fiction stories, except like a few like Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings.
Harry Potter's fucking great.
But I haven't read those books in a long time.
Yeah, I haven't read
Lord
any
of the Rings,
Harry
I
Potter.
haven't at all, actually. But Harry Potter, yeah, I read the books, but when I was way younger.
Yeah, same. I read them when I was a kid.
Neither have I read like any of Lord of the Rings or anything like that. I find it.
I
What,
think
gay?
I don't know, man. Like these days, I prefer non-fiction books. Like I'll read some. I did read some fiction recently. Like I read Crime and Punishment because people say it's like one of those like, oh, you gotta read it. So I figured, fuck it, I'll read it. And
don't spoil it for me.
That's but it's a fiction book, but it's more of like commentary on like specific psychological.
It's more of a.
It's an interesting book, but it has a lot of realism in it. Sure, the story is fictional, but what it deals with is not.
Yeah, exactly. No. I mean, Dostoevsky, the author of that book, is very much like that because he's quite a psychoanalyst in his own way, and he writes fictional stories, but with the idea of it's sort of like when you're watching a movie or a series where it's a fictional world but deals with a lot of real ethical dilemmas and those sort of issues. Like, for example, Breaking Bad could be one of them in a way. Not the same kind of storytelling.
I get what you mean. Yeah.
But it's a fictional world technically, but it's based on real life.
Yeah.
And that
what? Breaking Bad is real? Based on true story? What?
Hell yeah. And if you go through a certain choices, you will end up with certain consequences, which is what Dostoevsky's books usually try to uncover, basically. Yeah, I don't know if before I said I don't read non-fiction books, I meant I don't read fictional books much.
Isn't like Russian literature all like Depresso Espresso?
Yes.
All depression.
All of it. No, that book is a bit fucking like you read it and you're like, whoa.
Recently, I purchased The Brothers Karamazov. But apparently, I only purchased because I saw the Patrick Bateman meme of like literature, and it's like, and then this guy pulls out The Brothers Karamazov, and then he's like, oh my god, big literature, you know?
Yeah. Dostoevsky is a good fucking author, though. He has some really nice books like that one, Brothers Karamazov. And also, but my favorite is Crime and Punishment, but I haven't read it.
This is the only one I've read of him.
I haven't read it in years. I mean, everything from Dostoevsky I haven't read in years. Maybe I should brush up again. But,
are there any like British? I mean, Moby Dick was British, right? Classic.
Moby Dick.
Yeah. I think it was British.
I don't know. I have never read that book.
I'm not sure if it's British or American. Moby Dick.
I think it was
because most of the time it's the Americans that make
America
movies
didn't
about
even exist yet.
What?
No, I think
that book is old as shit.
Yeah, isn't
like,
book
I think
like
that predates America probably.
There's the number one seller was the Spanish one or something. I forgot the name. The most sold book in the world.
Moby Dick yourself some more, brother.
No, it's like I think that book came around probably the same time as like there was this one author. Fuck, I forgot the name. He wrote a bunch of classic books, like fucking I can't remember the guy's name.
Yeah,
he had done like I don't know if he had done like Around the World in 88 Days or some shit like that. And then there was the one like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea or some shit like that. The Jules something. I don't know, but that dude was like, this is like 1800s, 1700s or some shit like that.
Yeah, but okay, so Moby Dick or The Whale is an 1851 novel by American writer Herman Melville. Sorry.
1851.
Yeah, 1851. So yeah, it was American.
I guess it doesn't predate America then.
Because if it was British, it'd be something like Sir Cock the Moby or some shit, you know?
Yeah.
Exquisite find in it.
The cocker.
No, I don't think I've read many of the books, like old books. Old books. I don't think I've read many. Oh no, actually I have. I've read some Nietzsche, but that shit is like really fucking confusing. Like that's difficult to read. That's some difficult to read shit.
Yeah, I got a question for you guys. Are magazines considered books?
No.
No.
Drum roll.
Drum roll, please.
I actually have to load it in. Wait, because
I don't know.
It's
like, would you consider a magazine to be a book?
Well, let's gonna be a book is not a novel because you're referring to a book, right?
The object, a book.
Yeah, exactly. What you read is a novel,
right?
Yeah.
A magazine, it's just as it is. It's a book. It's those like how a book looks like that we think a book. Yeah. A magazine is how a magazine would look like. A magazine could have a novel written in it, and so does the kind of book can have a novel written in it. But they're two different things.
Yeah. So basically, the difference, that's on the money, basically, and the difference is as well stuff like magazines, newspapers, and any other thing that you can read that's not a book is usually called a periodical, because it's only based about like some sort of period and it's like reporting on something, or it's just an article about something that happened during the time, basically. So that's why it's not a book. A book would be like, you could still do the same thing with a book, but there would be other information that would have also more of historical value instead of just headlining for news, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the whole point of a fucking newspaper.
Yeah.
That the clickbait before the internet was invented.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, you read books? Name every single book.
Man, the whole thing, like the whole newspaper clickbait, I'm just imagining like our dads, for example, when we were younger, that every Sunday they used to get like the newspaper and be like, oh
yeah,
look at that title.
When they have these like old newspaper stands and shit with like the fucking headlines, like that's clickbait, right? It's like, oh, I'm gonna fucking buy this newspaper because I see what's on it. It's the same fucking concept.
In Russia, I don't know now, but before, the news channels, right, when they're discussing it, they would preview everything, like a short clip before they started doing it, and they would preview only the best and most interesting story at the start, right? Only like a short snippet, and then they would keep it till the end, so the people have to watch the whole news report until the end, because the juiciest one is at the end, basically. So you have to like sit there and watch through their ads until they finally get to it.
That's fucking clever.
So that's like that's basically like a TV clickbait. If
do they still do that now?
I mean, YouTube does it. I mean, we do it as well, in a way.
Yeah.
But it's news, you know. Yeah. It's like, hey, this guy got decapitated while driving on a 20. His head flew all the way to the neighbor's house when he woke up and found it in his bed. And then he starts, the flowers grew by 1 centimeter yesterday. And then it keeps on going, and you like, get to it.
We do the same shit on this podcast, man. Like whenever we put out an episode, we put like some, like the first like 30 seconds of it is some like interesting shit from like different sections of it, and then it gets into the start of it.
The Phantom Shitter.
Hell yeah, boy.
Oh man.
So I've got some fun facts loaded up about books that we
is there such a thing as a fun fact about books?
More like a nerd fact.
Apparently.
Nerd.
Like a quick
I mean, hey,
right
you
now.
could read a fun book. Like, probably if there's a book about there is, I'm sure, about the guy like from The Wolf of Wall Street. What's the guy's name?
Oh, Jordan Belfort.
Yeah. Like, that would be a fun book to read.
The book is called The Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah. I've never actually read that book, but that's like on my fucking list. I gotta read that book.
Yeah, but so, you know, books can be fun, kids. You could read something. All right. So, how many books do you think there are in existence?
At least one.
At least one.
Can't argue that.
That's a good answer. It's good fucking. I don't know, man. Like fucking. There's so many goddamn books.
Okay, put an average, like 2,000, a million, 100 million, a billion.
I mean,
probably 100 million or so.
Probably over a billion, I think, because people used to write like a guy would write like 20, 30 books in his lifetime. Like back in medieval ages, but if we're taking in like
be a lot of fucking books.
But a lot of them got torched, you know, like libraries.
Yes, as well. So
I think at least half. No, 1 billion is too much.
Well,
I
to
think
be
at
fair,
least half a billion maybe.
Right now, I don't know, but as of 2010, there's basically 130 million, a bit less.
Oh shit, I was close.
Yeah,
nice.
Honestly, I thought it would be way more when I looked this up. But probably it's because, as he said, that there's a lot that got burned.
But like it put it into perspective, like fucking 130 million is a lot. That's a fucking shit ton.
Yeah, but
that's
like still in comparison to how many people there are alive, it's still very little.
Do you think
like if you had just one copy of every book, that's not really a lot.
Do you think?
I don't know. I think it's still a lot. That's a lot. Like, put it in perspective. Think about it, like in terms of money, right? Like, if you got like €1, and then you have 130 million euro coins.
Bro thinks in money.
Yeah,
bro.
Examples.
It's a lot of fucking.
What are you, Ebenezer Scrooge? Huh?
Yeah.
It's not Christmas yet, motherfucker.
So, do you guys think that gatekeeping is a necessary evil? So, like many people send like up to publishers, you know, and there's like literally agents that you send your novel to that either approve it or not, and if they approve it, that's when they go to a publishing house. publishing house would listen to them instead of you just sending it to the publishing house.
Yeah.
Do you think it's like a necessary evil, like a filter to
What
filter out the generic stuff?
I'm a bit confused by the question. As in, why would it be gatekeeping just because you have to go to you have to go to a publisher, or you
have to go.
You mean like you have to send your book to a guy, and that guy needs to approve
exactly.
it.
But why is that gatekeeping?
Because
to some degree it kind of
they receive hundreds a day,
Right.
and once you read so much, you have to be like the top of the top.
Right. Yeah.
Unless you write like Twilight or some shit.
Yeah, I mean that shit did well.
It sucks because that's a question that you could say for a lot of different industries, especially with art. Like even with music, it's the same thing. You could either decide to release your own music or go to someone that will help you publish it.
Yeah.
And then millions will reach it. Like if Linkin Park didn't do that, we wouldn't know about Linkin Park most likely.
You can do self-publishing like on Amazon now, but it's not guaranteed.
Yeah.
But like with publishers, once you pass it, they'll give you an advance like 10K that you keep even if you don't sell well.
Yeah.
But then once your books sell enough, over 10K, for example, then
you get profit.
Royalties. You start getting royalties. Yeah. So they pay you an initial sum, and then they
got to make money somehow
as well.
That's how they make money.
Yeah.
So usually you get paid like in self-publishing is like 70%, 80%, but then with traditional you only get paid like 20%.
You ever think about like maybe there's a lot more good books that never got to see the light of day because some dude couldn't be fucked to read it?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
this is interesting.
But there's a website that's that I follow. It's basically a list of literary agents and what genres they accept. So it's like everyone specializes in a genre, and when people submit, I can see people commenting on the profile of the literary agent published this day, and some of them never got a response like in 2 years' time, or get a response after like shit ton of time.
If these people receive multiple books a day, how the fuck are they gonna read all of them?
I think do you think they give it like 5 pages? But some of them are slow burners, you know, like there's some
the best stories I know are fucking slow burners.
Like The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, man. I was like 2 hours reading, and it's just him discussing politics on a boat. For 2 hours straight. Like I was like, what the fuck is going on?
That's a good fucking book.
Yeah, that's I still haven't finished it. I have a bit of a bad habit of
you start them and then you don't finish them?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like,
I do the same
like
thing.
The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, as I said, like I rage quit. I'm like, shut the fuck up, man, do something. You know, he keeps on talking politics, and politics, like he met his friend, he's on a boat, because basically it's how he got into the court shit, right? And I appreciate his attention to detail and, you know, description of this fictional character, but goddamn, man, does he like go crazy into it. I guess maybe the agent appreciated that so much attention to detail was put to it.
I think there's probably also a lot of like other ways that people get through the agent. Like
once you published once, it's easy.
It's either that or bribery, or you know a guy who knows a guy, right? Like there's other ways around. If an agent can, it's like you apply for a job, right? You send your resume to some fucking company. It's most likely going in the trash because they don't give a shit. But if you know someone at that company who can tell them, take a closer look at that resume, that already gives you an advantage. The same as publishing books, right? You send your book to the publisher, it might just get thrown away. But if you know someone who maybe knows that publisher, he can tell them to have a closer look at that one, and you're more likely to get selected for publishing.
Right. Oh. Speaking of, because we are also talking a little bit now about like books and movies, like even The Girl with a Dragon Tattoo. Wait, so that originally is a book?
Yeah.
Yes, it's a trilogy.
It's a Swedish book.
All right. I thought that was just a movie.
No, it's 3 books.
All right.
There is the movie, the Swedish one, that's more true to the story, and then the Americanized one.
But the thing with the American one, I prefer the American one to the original one, but that's because I'm a David Fincher fanboy, and he directed that film, and he did a fantastic fucking job of it.
The suspense is so good.
But he never made the other 2.
The other 2?
It's an incomplete trilogy. So there's 3 books.
Okay.
And 3 movies of the original ones. And Fincher remade the first one.
What was it? The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, The Girl Spider's Nest or Hornet's Nest, and The Girl on the Train?
Yes, something like
the girl
that.
Something.
Yeah, it's always the girl and then
The girl with something.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
a bit
She
of,
always has problems, man.
this is a bit out of my
Women.
my field here because I don't know much about these. I didn't even know they were books.
Actually, fun fact: the actual title is not "The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo," if I remember correctly, because it is actually like in Italian, it's called "Men Who Hate Women," and I think it's the same in Swedish, if I'm not mistaken, because the whole idea of that book is about basically the girl is the victim, kind of. You know what I mean? Where if you've seen the movie, you know exactly why it might be called "Men Who Hate Women," because even the killer
Yeah.
tended to go for women, and specifically, you
That
know,
makes a lot of
and
sense.
even the main character woman went through a lot of shit with, you know.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Comes back to
My
it.
Italian friend told me like, oh, actually, it's called "The Man Who Hate Women" in Italian. I'm like, really? And I believe in Swedish it may be the same, but I think they called "The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo" because it's more commercially accepted.
It was interesting. It's like
kind
if
of.
you think about it, it's like these stories that get picked up and they do become popular over time. They get translated into so many different fucking languages. Do you think
Yeah.
like some of the story might maybe gets lost during the translation?
Yes. In fact, that is also even in the Bible, for example. That is a
Yeah, I mean that would be the prime
Yeah.
example of that one.
yeah. That's a component. That's an issue where there's so many different translations of it that it's hard to parse out if there even is the correct one, which is most people say it's the Hebrew version.
Oh, yeah, I
But
guess that would be
Hebrew what?
the
Hebrew what?
Hebrew.
A stew?
Stew,
a stew?
yeah.
I guess that's the original.
A pot of I don't know.
Pot of gold?
Yeah, pot of gold.
God
That's
damn
what.
God damn it. No, I guess I mean that one would be the more closest to. It's probably the original one,
Yeah.
version 1, and then we got
Yeah,
like
but
the King
even
James
then-
Bible and shit like that, and it's all
Even
just
then,
iterations.
it's not considered 100%, if I recall.
I
What
mean,
about-
the kid can never be 100% because like the book is just made up of stories that were told just from one person to the next, like over
technically-
fucking many years.
Technically, I mean, even the word Bible, it's sort of another term for collection of books because it's a collection of books.
Yeah,
There's a lot
yeah.
of books. There's, I think, if I recall, 34 in the Old Testament and 27 in the New Testament, I think. I'm not 200% sure on the numbers, but yeah.
Let's also talk about, like, for example, even speech of we're saying translations, but it is just like just saying it is just like the top of the iceberg. Even like speech in English, right? The tone of voice, this is vocal, right? But then if we're going into the books, some jokes just don't translate, you know.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah, that's
lines,
why like something will
it's
always get
completely-
lost.
Yeah.
For example, like even if like I remember once someone told me this example, and it's like vocal, but it kind of makes sense in the context. Like just if you listen by the tone, like I didn't sleep with your wife, I didn't sleep with your wife.
Yeah,
You can
yeah,
see
no,
exactly.
no, it
Yeah,
makes,
yeah.
like,
I see.
I think translating books, it's got to be like its own like job because you can't just like punch a book into Google Translate, right?
Yeah.
Like you have a guy that sits there who's very familiar with both languages, who can then not only translate the words into another language, but also the meaning and anything that's
Yeah.
between the
Oh.
lines. He can also accurately translate that to make sense in whatever other language he's translating the book to.
Medieval authors were like machines, man. They used to like knew like for example Latin ones, right? They knew Latin, they would translate it to English, and they would sit there for like 10 hours writing and translating.
I mean,
and rewriting.
honestly, the best thing is if the author himself translates the book because he's the
Yeah.
one that like knows the fucking meaning
Yeah.
of whatever he's writing.
For me, for example, when I read a book, I'm trying to
He
remember
read the book.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the name of the book because I know the
Okay, I
author.
read the
but
book.
What was the name? What was the name of the book?
Yeah, the Gulag Archipelago.
Oh yes, I read
Yeah.
that. Holy
Yeah,
shit, what a book!
The
God
author,
damn.
Alexander Solzhenitsyn, he's Russian, but the English translation is, I don't know how it was in Russian, obviously, but the English translation was really well done.
What is it
'cause
about?
Yeah,
It's about the time of when, a lot of Russians were being sent into the Gulag
it's
and
about the
into,
Gulag.
into
Classic Depresso
prisons.
Espresso.
And
Yeah,
yeah.
but like that book, it does get the fucking meaning and all the in between lines shit. It
Yeah,
gets it across.
it's
a really good
non-fiction
book.
and it's written so poetically well, man. It's
Yep, I
crazy.
agree.
Like you'd think it's written by someone who is British or
Yeah.
I wouldn't say American because They're a bit
No, but
illiterate.
when you read it, you feel like
I'm
it's
kidding.
written by the fucking guy, even though it's in English.
Yeah.
But it feels it's a really good book.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, like poetically, wasn't I haven't read it, but I heard that apparently the very controversial book Lolita, it's like apart from the really unreliable narrator, a lot of it is just metaphors, references, and at some points I'm like almost poetry, which is like very contradictory to the whole thing. The author is a really good author. He really knows how to write, but goddamn does he write some shit, you know? Even
It's the same with fucking Nietzsche, man. Nietzsche is like just metaphors. Just the entire
basically.
fucking book is just a metaphor upon metaphor upon metaphor, and then some fucking poetry in between. It's fucking hard to read.
And then comes in Freud. You want sex with your mother. You want sex with your mother.
I remember studying psychology. It's like, they're like the teacher. So boys want sex with their mom. I'm like, what?
God, man,
Huh?
I drink a lot of milk
like-
just because it's healthy. Guess I'm fucking Homelander.
Look at daddy issues, for example. Like
Uh,
when people have daddy issues, they tend to look out for like to try find people that are similar to their father. So
Yeah.
that's kind of Freudian.
Wait,
in a
I'm
way.
similar to someone's dad. Fuck, it makes sense. It just clicked.
I mean, like
You
Freudian.
know what this reminds me of? When on Instagram, I get like these relationship reels, and they're so relatable. I'm like, even people from hundreds of miles away are acting the same way as I do, or as my girlfriend does, or
I
as
mean, this is
other
just
couples
fucking-
I've seen. I'm like, what the fuck? Why are something so universal?
We're all the same fucking animals, right?
Yeah.
Like we're gonna have the same fucking situations.
I love driving to 100 miles per hour at night.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the autobahn in Germany.
Yeah.
Slima Road, what?
So I wanna move a bit to something else, so we get back as well into books. So if you had to bet,
Aight.
if you had to bet, which country has the people that read the most books? Which country would you think that is?
I think I know the answer to that one. Wasn't it like Finland or Norway?
You're
Or some of
close.
those countries.
You're close, but no, not those.
I no fucking idea, man.
There's some country.
So
Somewhere in Europe.
technically-
China.
technically, this is a bit of a cheat. It's Iceland, and the reason it's a cheat is
Because they're
because
oppressed.
there's so little people there.
What else?
Okay, so like per capita, who reads the
Yeah.
most books?
Yeah.
Because like you got like 2 people on the island. You're like, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
It's like you have two
Alright.
people. It reminds me of like the Scandinavian the sketch, the Scandinavian crime show. Who could have of all these people killed my son? Hello, Federson. Yes, I am the son of the Feder. And, you know, who
Yeah,
could have
yeah.
in this small
Yeah.
town of 2 people have been the killer?
yeah,
Man, Iceland is fucking insane, man. There's not a lot of people there.
yeah. No,
Gunther-
no,
Gunther
there
Sand
isn't. I want to visit someday because I've basically visited most Scandinavian countries. I have yet to visit Sweden, but I'm not so tempted.
Guys, wasn't, since we discussed clickbait,
Yeah.
isn't the name Greenland basically a clickbait?
Yes,
Yeah,
even
yeah,
Iceland is
yeah,
actually
yeah,
because
yeah.
Iceland is mostly green, and Greenland is mostly ice. Why did you do this, man?
No.
this is the
There's
sort of
an
thing-
actual reason for that. There's an actual reason for that. I'm not 100% sure of the details, but it was legitimate clickbait from some king. I don't know when exactly. This was like way back when
Yeah.
either King of England or some King of Spain. Some king called it Greenland to convince people to fucking move there, to convince people that it's nice. That's the whole fucking reason. So it is clickbait. Like that, the reason it's called Greenland is clickbait.
I could be wrong, but maybe that's as well the British and also like the Vikings, Norse back at the time, they discovered, you know, Iceland, and they called it Iceland because there was a ton of ice, even though it's really green sometimes. But then they after more exploration, they discovered Greenland, and they're like, and this is Greenland, just to compete with these assholes, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like Iceland, I'm sure there is a lot of fucking ice, especially in the north.
Oh
of it.
yeah. I'd like to visit.
So I guess maybe whoever discovered it went to the north of it first and was like, oh, ice, this is Iceland. They discovered the south and was like, oh, it's green here.
I
Must
heard
have been
this-
Christopher Columbus.
I heard it's really popular, like people going on bikes there and exploring, like in Greenland, Iceland.
Yeah,
God
Iceland.
damn it.
Iceland.
I got a friend of mine who's doing he's taking a couple of weeks and going just getting a caravan and going through Iceland. Iceland, and just going around different fucking places in Iceland and just camping for a couple of weeks there. Apparently, it's really
Iceland in a
beautiful.
weird way is like sorry, it's like a smaller version of sorry, I keep hitting the microphone. It's like a smaller version of America, in this sense, not the culture, but because in America, for example, it has 300 million people, but it's so massive that you have a lot of empty spaces. And in Iceland, it's a much smaller country, but there's so little people that everywhere is sort of empty. So there's a lot of emptiness to visit and just wildlife and nature.
And they also have like some awesome volcanic like fucking landscapes and shit like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. There's like videos of like the ice moving and stuff, which
And
is quite cool.
Also, speaking about the whole Greenland Iceland thing, about people trying to fuck with other people with words, this is the thing as well. Like when it comes to writing books, and sometimes some people make up words or they need to make up new definitions. Why are they? Some people are doing this on purpose, I swear. For example, the word for the phobia for people who have a phobia for long words.
Oh yeah, that's a...
The phobia for people who have a long words is hippopotomonstrossequipedalophobia, something like that. I don't know how to say it.
That's a long word,
Let
my
me
man.
say it. Let me say it properly. Hippopotomonstrossequipedalophobia. I don't think I even said it right then, but it's such a long word. Why would you be that asshole that invented a word that long for people who are scared of long words?
No, I was speaking of people fucking inventing words, like I think most of the words that we use today in the English language are because of Shakespeare. Right, like because the English was very different back then, and the dude just decided to fucking make up words, for meaning for things that didn't didn't have words assigned to them, and the dude just fucking invented words, and now they're like the language that we speak.
Imagine that someone probably asked him at one point, do you have broken English? No. This is my original word. Actually, Google what do you call a phobia when you read the word backwards and it's the same?
Is there a phobia for that?
Yes.
I'm sure there's a phobia for fucking everything.
There's a phobia for everything.
For symmetrical words or something.
Someone was probably Joe-phobic, bro.
Joe-phobic, yeah. I know some people that are
same word backwards phobia.
Of same word.
There's a term for that.
Forgot the term, yes.
Let me try and find it. Abophobia or abophobia? I don't know.
Abophobia.
Yeah.
Is it abophobia?
Apophobia.
Yeah, it's a fear
read it
of
backwards.
The term of that of like words that also read the same backwards is palindromes.
Read it backwards.
Do you know race car backwards?
What,
race
abophobia?
Is it?
Yes. Yes, it is. It is. What the fuck, man?
Nice.
I need to stop swearing,
The
but
scientists are assholes.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they
are.
like, who is the CEO of Phobias, man?
Yeah. But like, think about this, right? Like fucking people that have a difficulty with like letters and reading letters and like the connection between letters and a word. The word for that condition is dyslexia. Imagine you get a fright every time you see water. Like you're just having a stroll and all of a sudden there's a lake and you're like,
You start sweating. You know this is on your nose.
Sometimes I wonder how my dad is still alive. He only drinks like Cokes and shit, and I never seen him drink water in years.
Yes. Like that's the same thing I think. It's like all I see him drink is beer. That's it. And
He's like me for real.
And don't worry, it's not an exorbitant amount. It's just still like
what's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that.
What, drinking excessive beer
it
all
has
the time?
Water in it.
Yeah, I think there's something wrong if you're driving.
Yes, that's against the law. You shouldn't do that.
Man, you guys know that scene of the fucking Virtual Insanity when he like goes like this and gets closer to the screen? The music video of Virtual Insanity?
No,
I forgot. I probably watched it, but
let me show you real quick. We're gonna put it on the screen, but some of you that don't know, Virtual Insanity.
Virtual insanity. Can I just have regular insanity? I think that'd probably be better.
Oh, this.
It's basically POV my keys after too many shots.
Yeah.
And like
That's a joke for legal reasons.
so recently I got a motorcycle. And you obviously when you shouldn't really, right? But it was like so fun that I was a few beers in. I'm like this. Of course, I didn't do it, but I was like, God damn, do these keys look tempting? No wonder some people be like, hide the keys from me,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, I am really wasted. I'm gonna go drive and get some more beers.
Yeah. So, if you had to... gonna do that every time. Gonna keep everyone with the silent look treatment, getting fucking mugged. Anyways, but if you had to guess, which is the most influential book ever made, what would you think that is?
50 Shades of Grey.
The Bible.
Yeah, I mean,
we were quite far apart.
Well, you might not have been wrong.
50 Shades of Grey was. I mean, it depends on the generation.
Considering what's going on in the world now with fetishes everywhere.
Depressed housewives probably appreciated 50 Shades of Grey.
Depressed housewives appreciate Helen Coover. I fucking hate her.
Who is that?
She is a multiple times biggest selling. All she writes is those like really toxic relationships for single women. Like one of the stories is like about a mother who was in prison with kids, and then she finds some hot guy. And some other books that were really fucking sexual. Brain Surgeon. It's like this type of thing, and it's like for like the depressed woman.
Like basically trash TV, but in a book form.
Correct.
Nice.
And it's like one of the lines that I read is like the guy said, "Just let me fuck you, and then I leave. You'll never see me again." And it's like, what the fuck? Like what the fuck?
I mean, that is weird, but I think I've known people who have encountered situations a bit similar to that. So,
but it's like all of it is so toxic. You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
Is it toxic?
I mean, you tell me.
It's like, what if 50 Shades of Grey had different versions? But
I have no clue what 50 Shades of Grey is about. I've seen the trailers of the movie years ago.
I've seen the first film. I've seen the first film. That was a mistake. That's a horrible fucking film.
I watched all the movies and.
Wait, how many are there? What do you mean?
3, all? I think. 3.
Okay.
Isn't there 4? Didn't they split the last one into 2?
I don't know. I don't remember.
They do that with everything these days.
I think the quality of the movies is fucking amazing, especially the first movie. The quality is really, really good.
No, it's not.
It's sadly that the movie itself is shit. No,
garbage,
the quality, the camera quality
for it.
The camera quality is just like any other movie. It's nothing special, but like they did not put. There's nothing creative and like maybe lighting something different. It's just fucking standard, like standard fucking. Sure, it looks good, but that's kind of the fucking standard. They're not doing anything out of the ordinary or particularly visually creative with the film. It's just not very good.
I don't know. I kind of digged it. It was okay, apart from the whole BDSM shit. If you remove the BDSM, it would have been like quite an okay, I guess, romance-ish story.
Nah, I disagree, man. It's a weak fucking story. It's just based on fucking Twilight fan fiction.
No,
is it?
Yeah.
I thought Twilight is about vampires. And
Yeah. And there's a fan fiction.
A shiny vampire.
I could be mistaken here, but the what I know or what I've been told is that the 50 Shades of Grey is started out as Twilight fan fiction of the 2 characters in Twilight, and then it developed into a novel, and then there's a second one and the third one, and then it became its own thing. But it started off as Twilight fucking fan fiction.
Yes. I think I remember something similar. Yeah. And then she started writing it, and apparently a lot of housewives liked it. I'm not sure. Wasn't it published on Wattpad or something like that? I think so. I'm not sure.
I don't know, man.
I have no clue.
I think she wrote something and people liked it, and then she made her own version of it, of her own already parody and something like that.
Yeah.
But
I blew the fuck up. Like these movies, I'm sure these movies did well.
Yeah.
Like they were reasonably well received. Well, that's because the
No, kind of like
particular audience.
I don't know, maybe with my taste, like guilty pleasure, like I only watch movies that are at least 8+ or 7.5 minimum. Like recently I've been watching the movie Heat, which with Al Pacino and many others. Such a good movie, Heat. Oh, so good. It's amazing.
He's great.
And the fact that it was so accurate as well, the way they used the guns and everything, that even...
Was it based on a book?
Heat, if I recall, yes.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't.
No?
No, but we're supposed to be talking about books which like fucking went into full-on movies.
Yeah, fair enough.
But the thing is, like, as well...
But a lot of movies, sorry, because a lot of movies are written off of books. So.
I remember, speaking of 50 Shades of Grey, sometimes I used to embarrass my friends where we were like at the bookshop, and it's like gambling, right? You see 50 Shades of Grey book, it's like gambling. You open it at a random page and you start reading out loud, and it will always lend you some spicy shit that it is so fucking hilarious to read out loud. Especially like with like few of my buddies, and they're like girls in there as well, and they're just turning red. They're like, no, close this. And I'm not sure how much true it is, but some women just read straight up porn in public.
They
like, oh, it's nothing too much, but it's just like porn smart. It's like 100%. Like Helen Coover books, it's all porn.
Well, it's also funny because you're speaking about that, but for example, they did a test at one point. I don't know what the name of this experiment was, and they were experimenting what like men and women are more attracted to, and when it came to women, it was always something that's like a vampire or werewolf, like this sort of really weird masculine non-fiction masculine fictional character that was more predominant, so they usually read those kind of books more.
And I think the reason why, for example, when it comes to these kind of these type of entertainment, men are visual.
Yeah,
men don't want to fucking know anything about a character to be attracted to that character. They just need a pretty woman
Judy Hopps, man,
naked, preferably. Women is different. Women is a lot more emotional, so they need to like the more they get to read about the character, the more they get into it. That's why they prefer these kind of books as opposed to like men would just fucking watch porn.
Yeah, in fact, that's why as well, it's usually these kind of characters like vampire, werewolf that I was mentioning that are usually more mysterious in fiction.
You do whatever you want with these characters. Like it's completely out of this world. Like you can fucking make up whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, but the mystery is also what intrigues, because they're looking for a story.
Yeah.
So, also, what did you guys ever listen to audiobooks instead of like reading a book?
Yeah, I did. I have a bunch of like whenever I fly somewhere, I generally put an audiobook.
Okay. How is it for you in comparison to just reading a book?
It depends on the book.
Right.
Depends on the book. Like sometimes if I listen to, like if I try to do an audiobook of fucking Nietzsche or some shit, I just tune out because like fucking
yeah. Damn, like that one Nietzsche still does audiobooks?
Yeah, you can get audiobooks from fucking Nietzsche.
Damn.
Some dude will read like fucking a book. But there I tune out. Like there's something I have to like sit down and read, because then like a lot of times you come across the thing that's like, I did not understand that at all. I have to read it again. An audiobook, you're not going to like go back multiple times and be like, the fuck you mean by that?
For me, I prefer reading than listening to an audiobook because I can sort of picture more in my mind while I'm reading, and I'm more focused because you have to focus while you're reading. And if I lose focus, then I just go back and reread the line.
But I can do the same thing with an audiobook. Like I listened to Peterson, the 12 Rules for Life.
Oh, well, maybe you should live your life as you should.
Out.
No, that book was great to listen to because you can just kind of zone out. Like if you're on a train or if you're on a plane, you can zone out and you can kind of just listen to it, and then you get kind of imagery in your head.
What do you mean by plane?
Does this tell us
what do you mean by train?
Like a bit of our personalities? Because like audiobooks, one, cringe me out, and sometimes I'm like, they're too slow, like the way they read, they're a bit too slow. I like kind of like reading at my own pace, and as you said, if you don't understand, you go back. But some audiobooks, like recently I was reading like The Housemaid, and I was just cringing on half of it, like the way they the reader pronounces it, and probably AI at this point, right? It's like
No,
audible.
I don't think so. I think.
But I just couldn't get into it. Like I listened to 2 chapters, and I'm like, this isn't for me.
The benefit, though, is, for example, you could listen to audiobooks while driving.
That's what I was doing.
Or-
You can also read a book while driving.
Sure, buddy. Well, to be fair, with the traffic.
You can read the book. So this is what you do. You have the steering wheel, right? You hold the book onto the steering wheel, and it keeps one hand free, so you can also have a beer.
And then when you need to turn, you turn your head with the steering wheel.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, meter now. Good luck.
I understood that reference. So yeah, but the thing is, it does save you a lot of time.
Yeah, it does.
Because you could do it while multitasking, like you're cooking, or you could just listen to an audiobook. You could be doing any other chore, or you're transporting yourself, or also as well sometimes if I'm not driving, if I'm not the one in control of the vehicle, and I'm a passenger, like especially on a boat, sometimes I get dizzy. So it's better for me to listen to an audiobook than
You can
to
focus
read.
on something.
Bro,
I can't read on a boat.
Yeah.
I can't read on a boat.
Imagine you're pulling to a homie's place, you're gonna drive him. It's like, okay, he sits in the passenger side, and it's like, instead of just chilling or talking, just like bro pulls out a fucking book and starts reading. I was like, get the fuck out of my car.
Bro, if I'm a passenger, usually by the time I get home.
No, I can't read in cars because I get fucking sick.
Yeah, I know.
I can't even look at my phone, man. I have to like look out the window.
Yeah.
Same with the boat. Boat, I can't fucking. That's why I fucking fly everywhere. I hate fucking boats.
That's why, like, I was on a boat recently, and like, I had to be up because every time inside and I don't see it, I get fucking nauseous. I have to see, like, you know what I mean? My brain kind of copes with it differently.
I just need to see the horizon, like especially on a boat because it's like goes from side to side. But as long as I can see the horizon, I'm fine. If I stop seeing the horizon, I get super sick.
No. So I'm gonna because we did talk a bit like about movies that are based on books, but it was on my list of things to ask. If you had to pick a movie where it's based on a book, what would your favorite be?
Fight Club.
Is it based on a book?
Yep.
Yeah.
Ever read the book? Love the movie.
Yeah,
But,
same. I've only seen the movie. I've never read the book.
Is the book good?
I don't know.
No, we don't know.
read it.
We just said
haven't read it. I thought you said I read it.
No, I haven't read it.
No.
Let's see. What
I assume
would
it is,
like.
but
There is a movie that has a book. I mean, I know there's a bunch of them that I've seen that have books.
I mean Harry Potter. That's one of them.
Yeah.
But there, I would say the movies are the books are so much better than the movies.
Yeah.
Like the books have so much more detail.
Because every time when I hear the word Harry Potter, it reminds me of a sketch like someone named Potter who's Harry.
What?
Harry Potter, you know, Harry.
Yeah.
Not a name Harry, but being Harry, a lot of hair.
Ah, right.
And he does pots.
Every time
with clay.
From now on, every time you guys say or hear Harry Potter, you're gonna think of a Harry Potter.
Yeah, there was I think if I'm not mistaken, there is a guy in the UK that his name is Harry Potter.
Yeah, probably.
And his name was Harry Potter long before the fucking books came out. Can you imagine how fucking horrendous that dude's life must be?
Yeah.
At this point.
Guys,
holy shit.
I can just imagine like him being an adult walking around and then like snarky 8-year-old.
Oh, it's not that, but like imagine you have to introduce yourself with the name Harry Potter.
Yeah, I would change it.
I think probably the dude did.
Imagine having to do the presentation. Hi, my name is Harry Potter. Like 100 people at once all fucking snicker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you guys know the Dumbledore kills Snape?
Oh.
What?
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 What do you mean?
Wait, what? What?
What did you just say?
Nothing.
Right.
Don't spoil it for the people, man.
I'm a spoy boy to the heart.
To be
but
honest,
it's not even correct.
To be honest, man, I think most of the best movies, if not all the best
Dumbledore,
movies, are based on books.
There you go, you dipshit.
Fuck. Potato.
That's why I was confused. I was like, what? Fucking what? No, it's the other way around.
I didn't even pay attention. I thought he got it right on the money, but
No, I didn't.
Fun
I
fact.
fucked it up.
They put fucking because they stole a book before it was even like published, and like they had to put trackers on each pallet of the books. That each pallet was tracked with
man.
security guards, but it still leaked. And after they found out that Snape killed Dumbledore, there were people like going with megaphone next to the bookstores where everyone's in queue, spoiling for them.
Hey, actually, you think
I don't know why that's such a big, but that whole book series was fucking massive.
Yeah.
Like the success that it had was insane. Everyone was reading those fucking books.
Do you think it's a common occurrence that when you are in the toilet and you're out of toilet paper that you would use a book?
Like, listen, if I'm reading a book and I run out of paper, you just fucking take a page out of the book.
Yeah.
Do you think if someone finds this book like I don't know 1,000 years in the future and they're torn pages, there must have been something secret in here? It's like missing pages of like really thick books. What if whoever was reading it or translating it just ran out of toilet paper?
But have you never been like cooking while you read a book, right? And then like you have dirt on your fucking fingers and there's no towel, so you just take a page out.
It sounds oddly specific.
Very oddly specific.
It's just a thing that I do. I don't know.
I don't know.
You did,
I thought it was a common occurrence.
No, it wasn't. I was like asking, in fact, well, maybe it is. I don't know, because I don't do it, but maybe it is a common occurrence where a lot of people just fucking wipe their ass with book
I
paper.
don't know, like, listen, if you're eating, right? You just order like a pizza, right? And you're eating, and some of it's like it gets messy around your mouth, but you're reading your book. Like, you gotta clean your mouth. So take a page.
Hate it when that happens.
Respect for books.
Depending which book as well, let's just be honest.
Yeah, like I like 50 Shades of Grey. Like, come on, you can.
Karl Marx.
It doesn't need all of those pages. You can do it a few less.
Actually, since you guys were referencing, you guys were talking about how there was a study about like they like this like fucking alpha, sometimes animal-like, werewolf. Recently, I borrowed 2 books from someone that I know, and basically, I just wanted to give it a try. One of them is Twilight, and the other was the Court of Thorns and Roses, which is written by females.
Oh, I heard that one. That's just porn.
That's fairy. About some mythical creatures and like fairy-esque type of thing. And Twilight is, I thought the movie went overboard, but no, the book is actually like that. So you're right. So if you ever want to target female audiences, you can always write some fairy porn.
Yeah,
a masculine guy. And if you guys ever want to target, I guess, male audience, you can always write more of a thriller type of stuff, because like men love thriller. Like
you just need
Fight Club.
Fucking like guns, motorcycles. I don't know, meat, chaos.
Would you guys ever
hero dude?
On my
I was just gonna ask, would you guys ever do like an autobiographical book?
Yep.
No.
Reasons. You start.
Why not? I mean, like, if I have an interesting life by the end of it, or not necessarily the end of it, but like, towards the 50, 60 years old, why not tell that story? If it's a story worth telling, obviously. If it isn't, then what the fuck's the point? But I aim for my life to be a story worth telling. So then I would obviously like to write an autobiography, and then, maybe for somebody make it into a movie.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. I think that's something to aspire to. That's something to fucking aim for. Like, I think anyone with a little aspiration would want to have a life that's worthy of a story, which, people want to read or watch.
You remind me of, what was it, the name of the movie with Brad Pitt when they were really high in Vegas? They were always on drugs and stuff.
How the fuck does that remind you?
Basically, what happened is
not The Hangover, right?
No, with Brad Pitt, something and something. They were like always on LSD and shit. It's basically there is about this. It's based on a autobiographical reporter that he used to get super fucked and basically fuck around, and he wrote a book about it. And yeah, it's with the Brad Pitt. You definitely know it. I forgot the name, but I'll show you.
Is it Brad Pitt?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what that is.
But basically, this guy, he started as a journalist, and the way he used to do his work is he would actually go into it, you know what I mean? And he would write it in first perspective rather than like, you know what I mean, describing it. He would actually put himself in it, and he used to get so fucked on like LSD, man, that the entire movie is basically based on that autobiographical journey that he did. So
that's interesting.
Yeah,
find me the name. I'll watch it because that sounds interesting.
But I'm also curious now. Why wouldn't you be interested in making like an autobiographical book? I mean, you also like writing stuff.
Why don't you want an autobiography?
Well, the thing is, like in my opinion, you would need to kind of like, it's like, why would I write about myself? Like, who the fuck would give a shit? You know what I mean? It's like you would first need to be like, as you said, like you brought a valid point. If you had an interest life, maybe people will read it. But I also think that you need to be at least known a little bit for people to read. It's like if some guy named, hey, my name is Joshua fucking Smith.
Maybe not.
You know, I'm not gonna fucking read fucking book about his life.
You could have the Van Gogh effect though. Like, let's say you had an interesting life, but you weren't really known, and then your story will get known many years later still
through the book. I mean, it's a possibility.
It could happen because sure, most likely it won't, but still, I don't know. I personally, I prefer to leave some sort of mark if I didn't do it physically, like in the sense that if I didn't leave a mark physically here where my presence made a difference, at least I want that my story does, you know?
Yeah, I get you.
Oh, okay.
So, no, I mean, I think that's probably a pretty general thing. I think everyone wants to be remembered for something.
Yeah.
Like that's how you effectively become immortal. Like if people remember you, if you contribute something to society which has had an effect, which hopefully in the positive, that people will remember over time, long after your death. And that's the whole purpose.
I think for now, so far my life hasn't really been that interesting. Overall, I've done a lot of things, and at the moment I'm working on a lot of things. I think though in a few years that might change. Like
but we're also relatively young. Like,
I know.
There's a lot of time where like anything can happen.
Yeah. Though as well, there is a common theme though through most of the interesting autobiographies I read. There was always something interesting in the person's childhood that happened that might have affected their view on the world in some way, and that they kept growing up and developing that view.
Actually, reminding me, there is a book that I'm gonna purchase soon called No Longer Human by Daizai, which is a Japanese author who basically the book is half autobiographical, but he puts a fictional character in it that's very similar to him.
Right.
And then unfortunately the author committed a suicide because his life was like constant like else, basically from childhood till all the way till his death. And he had like multiple attempts and stuff like that. It was his like kind of last masterpiece before he did.
This sounds familiar. I don't know if I think I've heard PewDiePie talk about it.
Probably. It's like really screwed. It's like a somewhat screwed up book. Yeah. But that's why people also read it, because he had a lot of works before that as well, where he got popular off them, and then he's like, fuck it, I'm gonna go like full depression, and here's my real life, and that's it, you know?
I think there's a common theme though. Like,
yeah,
I think if you are able to achieve that level of greatness when it comes to doing something creative, like generally that I don't know why, but I think most people who perform at that level, whether it's music, TV, or writing, if they perform at that level of creativity that really moves people, they tend to struggle with a lot of issues themselves psychologically, which then they put into their writing, and that's why it's so powerful.
Yeah, I've noticed, me personally at least, and I think also most people. Me personally, and also a lot of people, to be honest, where the most, especially when it comes to music, but also when it comes like to film direction or authors of books, they went through some fucking hard times, you know. And usually it's weird because, you know, and I understand most of the time they say, oh well, I don't like to perform my art, whatever it is, under the influence because it's destructive to themselves.
Yeah,
When they
I
were
guess.
so
Yeah, I
destructive
guess.
on themselves. But
No, I think a lot of them become
yeah.
destructive towards themselves to deal with to deal with whatever they're struggling with. But so there's two sides to it, right? Or at least I assume that they would go into drugs or other types of self-harm to deal with the issues that they are dealing with, but they would as well use their creative, whatever they're doing creative, to also deal with those issues. So they kind of go hand in hand, where both of these are kind of like a way to deal with whatever they're struggling with.
But man, writing is tricky and quite hard. Like some alcoholic excuse, but man, like after like writing for like 5 hours, man, you're really tired.
Yeah.
Like I personally, I like literature and I write, but the problem is like I still haven't particularly finished anything because I'm stuck, me personally, at the moment.
Yeah.
Where to go? Because the thing is, it is, if you look at classic literature, it's all kind of these third person and certain subjects like Dostoevsky, right? And Crime and Punishment about this guy and stuff, which is fiction, but it is realistic fiction. Then we would think about, then there is the fantasy novels, then there is the thriller, the crime, where like Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, for example, The Housemaid, and it's like you have these spots to go, and you're not sure if you would like one, and if you want to test, you're going to waste at least 2-3 years. You see if you like it or not.
Yeah.
You know, which is kind of, and also I'm stuck, me personally, at the moment. It's like, I am not going into any because I am thinking like, if I go into it, I might not like it, or might not be successful enough because I like all of these. But do you guys agree that everything that comes out recently that's fantasy, it's so washed? It's kind of like, oh yeah, they're elves, this type of shit, you know what I mean? It's the same fantasy.
I don't mind that if it's like, for example, elves, although, and there are some stories that are written now that would be with completely new creatures or characters that are not like recycled from anything else, but usually they go a bit under the rug. And there's also a problem that even especially with certain publishers, I think you need to reach certain criterias that you need to have this and that, and if it doesn't have this and that, then it doesn't fly.
I have a question with that whole so the concept of elves, right, as fictional beings, that I've seen that so many times across movies, games, books. How is that a thing? Like, did somebody just invent elves and then everybody else started copying the same idea? Or is this like something that comes from, I don't know, mythology or some shit like that?
I mean, it's also like even with giants. Giants weren't real people. There wasn't people that were 20 times the size of a normal person.
Giants are kind of more of a mythological thing. But does the same thing apply to elves? Because I can't think of an instance in the mythology that I know of, like Greek and Northern.
More mythological, though? I mean, aren't elves just as the same mythological?
No, I think what he's asking is
in the classic mythology, right? Like I can remember there being giants in like the Northern one, the Norse ones, and even I think in the Greek ones.
Yeah,
but I don't think there were any elves.
Yeah, but exactly.
At least not the ones that I know.
So I think what you're saying is that, like, of course, with giants, we know there's actual folklore.
Yeah,
but that
like
didn't come
elves,
out from a novel or something.
Yeah, with elves, it doesn't seem like there's anything such as folklore. So my question would be, who the fuck invented elves, and why are they now in every fantasy story?
It's especially after Lord of the Rings, they became super popular.
Yeah, even video games, like the fucking, what's it called?
MMOs?
The Bethesda one, fucking Skyrim, right? Like that's the tech that's practically Lord of the fucking Rings, but like in a video game.
I don't know if this is the definitive answer, because there might have been even earlier, but apparently some of the earliest known references to elves in literature come from 10th century England.
10th century, fuck.
A medical text called, it's Old English, I can't read it. It's like Vio Forestis, which means against a sudden stabbing pain, describes how to treat patients who experience such pains and explains them.
How the fuck's that linked to elves?
Pull their ears or some shit.
Because, okay, so wait, I'll tell you. So it describes how to treat the patients who experience such pains and explains them as possibly being caused by invisible elf arrows.
Ah.
And yeah.
So it was like a folklore type
yeah.
thing. So
Yeah.
interesting.
If you had a
Interesting.
headache, the doctor would be like, "Oh shit, the elves shot you, man."
I mean, like, yo, old-timey medicine back in the day. Fuck, man, that shit.
bro, you had a headache. Get the drill.
No, it's like you go to a fucking doctor in the 1800s. The dude is like, oh yeah. You've ghosts in your blood. Go take some cocaine. Fucking hell. That shit must have been lit.
Yeah.
By the way, the one that we talked before about the journalist, the name of the movie is Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. The main actor is Johnny Depp. Wasn't Brad Pitt.
Okay.
It's basically Raul is a journalist.
That movie,
who,
yeah,
along
I know.
with a lawyer, has to head to Las Vegas to cover the Mint 400 motorcycle race. Soon pleasure overtakes, and then they start with recreational drugs. So it's the journalist was taking so many drugs, you know what I mean? And the way he described it, that it became kind of like a over time, he instead of making like journalism, it became like a autobiographical fucking story, you know? It's like, so I saw fucking dragons flying, and I'm not sure where I was. You know?
I'm sure this is not like a single occurrence. Though. Like, there's got to be a lot of material out, like people tripping balls and then deciding to just write about their trip.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like it's something that's probably more common.
Yeah, that happens a lot because a lot of people when they're tripping, they're getting a completely different experience to normal life. And I don't know how to explain it, but for some reason, also, I think even for people who aren't as creative, it incentivizes them to start creating something, I think. I'm not sure about that though.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know what exactly the link between drugs, especially hallucinogenics, and creativity is. Like, why do people claim to get more creative when they take these drugs? I don't know what the link there is. Does any of you guys know that or not?
Yeah. I mean, as well, like Stephen King, the stuff he wrote when he was on drugs is mostly gibberish, to be honest, and then was like fixed up by an editor.
And wasn't it?
But I think that dude had a lot of the dude has a lot of trauma from his childhood.
Yeah.
That he puts into his books.
Yeah.
And
that's why they're so good.
Yeah, the guy's fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I don't know. Is he?
I think. I mean, what I found interesting is somebody told me. I forgot who told me this, but is like every Stephen King book there's a train, in some way, shape or form. Like there's always a train somewhere in these books, and that apparently comes from the reason that when he was young, a friend of his got run over by a train, which was very traumatic for him. So now in a lot of his books, there's some reference to a train somewhere.
All right.
Sometimes you don't
I
even
think that
notice
happens more often. It happens more often. Like they put things that's their way of dealing with that trauma that they've experienced, right? They just put it into words, put it into books, and we enjoy reading them.
Yeah.
It's a bit fucked up when you think about it, but like, yeah.
So I have one final question. If it wasn't an autobiography and you had to make a book, what would you think it would be about?
I have like 50.
Yeah. I mean, I've written some. I haven't written books, but I've written screenplays for both short films and I've done 3 feature films. Which this is probably something that I would expand upon.
Yeah.
It's generally they are about a character who struggles with either guilt or grief or something, some emotion that I find interesting. And we kind of just watch the character interact with other characters and deal with the kind of the psychology of what he's going through because of some situation or reason or something. Generally, then I'll put some fucking twisted, fucked up shit in there, like, you know. That's just, you know, that's probably what I would write. I don't know, like a fucking character piece.
Yeah.
As for me, like at the moment, I'm working on one. It's basically about this girl who she keeps on moving because her parents keep on moving because, you know, she's still young. And after like 5-7 years of constantly moving towns, they finally returned back to the town where she was born. And she started to realize things that she didn't pick up when she was a kid. And she started to realize how fucked up and a bit weird this town is. and things kind of unfold, and she starts realizing really screwed up things about the family and the past and so on.
Oh, I like that.
And
That sounds interesting.
I have a bunch that I need to.
Yeah,
I
fucking
mean-
get writing, man. Like
And-
that actually sounds like legitimately interesting.
Another
fucking
one
write
is-
that book. I'll read it.
Another one is about the two detectives who are like in France, in Bordeaux. And basically, there is this rich family, and her daughter of the family, her mother always makes like missing reports for her because, she likes partying and whatever. And this half-ass detective who has like alcohol problem, he already knows where to find her, and he finds her again. And the one time where her mother makes a missing report once again, he's like, oh fuck, not again. Where he didn't go and find her, she actually got killed. And he's like, oh fuck. You know what I mean?
This is something you wrote?
Right.
So the one time, yeah.
Interesting.
No. She actually goes missing because I haven't touched it in a while, and he
Yeah.
cannot find her. So he has to trace back exactly because every week,
Right.
her mother.
Don't give too much of it away because
Yeah.
people would steal your shit. And
Yeah.
what you got there, it sounds like it's legitimately good.
Like there are a bunch of them, but I noticed that I'm way better writing fantasy, but I prefer thriller.
Right.
Actually, I have the opposite thing. Like, I cannot write fucking fantasy, but I can write things that I can relate to. So it's generally character pieces, people interacting with other people in different situations, and it's. I don't think I've ever written like something sci-fi or fantasy. It's generally just kind of based in reality of what
Yeah.
we're surrounded by.
Right.
It's fiction, but it's not fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fiction, but it's based on in reality. It's like it's not like I don't know fucking magic and superpowers and shit.
I haven't tried ever writing a book, but I do write lyrics, and even though I write for completely different genres than this guy I'm about to mention, I found a really great tip in general is from Ed Sheeran. Is
Who?
to just who?
Who?
Oh look, he's
Where
right
you
there.
fucking now? Who are you fucking now?
Is to just write stuff down, and then if it's bad, whatever, you can scrap it later. But at least you've written it down, you've done something. And so the more you write, the better you'll get. And sometimes as well, I find myself that I write best when I'm not really thinking so hard. Like I just start writing stuff down, see what rhymes, or if it doesn't rhyme. This is specifically for lyrics, not just books.
Yeah, I think it
But-
applies a lot to lyrics because that kind of just needs to come.
But
as a
even
flow.
that mentality is also good for when you're writing anything in general, just to start writing down stuff, and then if it doesn't work, then either fix it up later or just scrap it.
I
But at
usually just
least
shelve
you've
it.
gotten it out.
Like if I come up with something I find really interesting, I'll write it down, and then if I realize like, oh fuck, I don't know where I'm going with this, I don't know the next fucking thing that's supposed to happen here or how what
Yeah.
the ending's gonna be. I'll just I'll shelve it, and then later maybe I'll come across a situation. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
Actually-
that might fit here.
There are,
exactly.
there are two types of authors: the ones that plan everything and the ones you just wing it.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, like I think Stephen King was the latter part.
I
He
ca-
just wings it.
I kind of
Yeah,
the boat. I kind
uh,
of the boat. Like I plan out or like think well what I'm going to write, but then at times I'm like, you know what, fuck it, I wing it. And then what's funny is, especially again, not for books specifically, but for lyric writing, what's
Mhm.
funny is that it doesn't, in a way, it doesn't matter too much what you write. You'll find a pattern how to sing it properly or how to
But-
perform it properly.
Exactly.
Of course, to a certain extent, if you write too much, it's gonna be difficult.
I think it's
But,
always
yeah.
good if you wing it starting out, but
Yeah,
then
yeah.
once you get to a point where it's like, oh shit, what I have here
Yeah,
has
yeah.
the potential to actually be good,
Yeah.
then it's worth to think about the structure and to
And-
do a little bit more planning.
But actually, it reminded me like because a lot of authors they seem to find. I would say some of them get really lazy. They find a formula. Helen Cooper. They find a formula that they keep on using and printing out. Like for example, with the whole
I mean,
like,
listen, if it works, if it makes money,
exactly,
all the more
that's-
power to you.
I am going to have to now stop the podcast because I think we're reaching like a certain limit with everything.
absolute.
Oh
skill
yeah,
issue.
we need to
Yeah, how long have
not
we
not
been
run
going
out
on?
of storage space on the
75
cameras.
minutes.
Yeah, all right.
Oh yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
We're good. But yeah,
Yeah, because as well, I think I need to check everything's
Today's a
working
double.
fine. But yeah,
All
all
right,
right.
it was a good one. This was a good one. Some interesting
very
shit.
informative. We'll see.
It's a little more of a personal one because we got a little like into what we do in terms of like what we do, creatively in our free time to just kind of
Yeah, pretty much. And I want people to know more, like even about you guys, what sort of things you're interested in, and in books it's usually very telling. And we also touched on about some other subjects like movies and such. So
what books? I haven't read a single book.
really?
I'm illiterate.
Oh,
I
you're
can't read.
illiterate? Oh, shit,
I'm just really into hookers and cocaine.
Cocaine.
With that head, I think you'd be more into cocaine and some blokes from the mountains.
Oh, gee, buddy, where's my Mountain Dew?
Did you know that?
Harold,
also,
get the shotgun.
Brokeback Mountain is based on a book.
Is it?
Yes.
Holy shit! I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Also, I gotta say, that's a great film, man. Which
film?
Brokeback Mountain. The gay cowboys on the mountain.
That's based on a
Great
book.
fucking film. Great fucking film.
Yeah.
Like that's a legitimate good film.
What an autobiography, huh?
All right. Anyways, thanks guys for joining. We'll see you another time. Please follow us on Patreon.
Ciao, ciao.
See you. Thanks for watching the video.
If you enjoy the content, consider liking the video.
Subscribe and hit that notification bell below.
Help us sustain our alcohol addiction. For every like we get on this video, we're going to take one shot and record it on video. And you can see that exclusive content on Patreon.
I ended up in the hospital last year.